What is up, survivors? This is Harv with Harv's Corner. For today's mod review, we're going to be going over the medieval weapons mod. And here we go. So we get a slew load of weapons to talk about, a couple little structures. Alright, so first and foremost, a couple of structures. So we have two different weapon racks, and they're both 15 slot weapon racks, and they're literally just for weapons, and you can just put weapons in here. It's pretty cut and dry. It doesn't seem to change any of the appearance when you put stuff in there, but it's specifically just for holding weapons, which I like the dedicated storage, and I also like the way that it really looks. It uses the exact sculpts of the weapons that we're going to be messing around with, and yeah, so very nice, very nice. Anyway, the middle section, this is the anvil. This is where you're going to be crafting all of the weapons, armor, and a few of the structures. So the weapons we're all going to go over. The structures are those two racks plus something called insulation base. But we'll get into that and we'll show you how that works. We have one shield that you can make, the circle shield in here. You have a bunch of ranged weapon options. We have a recurve bow, a longbow, and an arbalist, which is basically a crossbow. And we have different arrows. Now, you have to make different arrow tips for the different arrows that you're trying to make, so definitely pay attention to that as well. Also note that some of these, like the broadhead arrow, require stone-tipped arrows. You can't just use regular stone arrows. You have to make the stone-tipped arrows, so make sure you're using the right arrow to create these. You can't use like the regular stone arrows. You can use them, I think, for the trank arrow. Yeah, for the trank arrows you can use that one, but that's pretty much it. So definitely be mindful of that. And also with this insulation base, it looks like a thatch ingram, but it's not. So definitely watch that when you're crafting it. But let's get into it. Let's talk about the insulation base first, and then we'll go through the weapons. So that's what it looks like when it's placed. I have another one here I can place down, and it looks really. At first glance, you're probably like, "What am I using this thing for?" I'm going to show you, and it's going to blow your mind. So this mod is more geared for Primitive Plus or some sort of medieval type of feudal theme on the server that you're running or playing on or whatever. That's really what we're looking for here. More of a role play section as well. But so the insulation base, if we check my character's hypothermal and hyperthermal right here, we're at 198 and 102, which is respectful. But if I step on top of this insulation base and check it, it's moving up, and it continues to move up. I think, yeah, it's going 1900 and 1800. This is perfect for egg hatching. So basically, think of it as your medieval ACs, and it's awesome. You're only really ever going to need one or two of these at the most, but it works really well for that. But anyway, let's get into the weapons. First up on the list is basically a dagger. It's your little dagger. It's like your little shank. Typical dagger, but these look awesome. All these weapons do. The handguard, the grip, everything looks good. The hilt, all looks good. Anyway, it's a pretty quick stab animation that you have. So it's kind of, you're just shanking somebody pretty much, but it's super quick attack speed. The next one we have, and I think these will also, yeah, they'll knock down trees for like thatcher wood, but that's pretty much it. Next up we have is the Messer sword, which is basically just a regular sword, possibly more of like a short sword model. That's what we're looking for. It's kind of, I like the blade tip on that one. It looks really neat. But again, a lot of time when designing that hilt, the handle, I mean, all these weapons look really good. I love it when this uniqueness and this much detail gets shown in one of these mods. It's really incredible. Same deal, swings like a sword. It's a little bit slower than the dagger, obviously. Will still knock down trees and do more damage to you. All of these have special descriptions, like each one actually has a purpose to it, so definitely read them before you craft them to find out exactly which one you want. Next one we're looking for is the Norman, which is more, this is probably closer to a long sword. This is pretty cool. More of a boxy hilt and handguard, but looks fantastic. Love it. Again, swings a little bit, about the same size, about the same speed as the Messer, so pull the Messer out. And we pull out the Norman. Well, the Messer, oh, maybe the Norman actually goes a little bit faster, it looks like. Yeah. Huh. Okay. Next up is the Bastard Sword. It's called that because of the longer handle. Yeah, made a handle. It's not quite a two-handed sword. It's like a hand and a half, essentially, is what they call it. All of these look really, really neat. Same swing method. It looks like it's a little bit slower on this guy, but again, still knocks down all these trees, stuff like that. Next up, we have the Warhammer. The Warhammer is going to swing a little bit slower, It's more for just blunt damage than it is actual like piercing armor though, but it looks fantastic. Most times you think Warhammer and you're looking at like a giant mallet or a giant sledgehammer. This is a bit more accurate as far as what a Warhammer actually was. And this looks great. Love it. And I didn't paint the back of my pants. I'm slacking. Man, that's embarrassing. Maybe we'll just shoot the rest of it from right here. No? Okay. Moving on. We'll have to deal with my my failure. Anyway, it swings a little bit slower. Still knocks down stuff. I don't think this breaks... No. It doesn't break rocks or anything like that. Next is the battle axe, which might be... It's my second favorite. This is a giant axe. This looks awesome. That's huge. So cool. So cool. Absolutely beautiful. These weapons are crazy. Not quite as fast as the sword, but definitely faster than the hammer. Next up is we have the lance, and the lance actually can't use unless we're mounted. This. That looks cool. That is definitely better than the normal lance. Again, it's same purpose though. It's made for knocking other people off their mounts, which is pretty funny, but love it. I think it's great. Absolutely great. This is the improved whip. Basically, our whip from Scorched Earth, but looks a lot better and is a lot more durable. And this doesn't, like, you know, the Scorched Earth one would, like, pick up berries for you if you hit them. It won't actually do that. But it will move animals. So you can get animals to move around a little bit. And certain creatures, I believe, just like Scorched Earth, like, you'll hit them with this and they'll actually harvest stuff for you instead. I was just kidding, horse. Come on back here. I was just playing. It's okay. Don't take offense to that. But yeah, typical whip, which you would normally expect. But like I said, the durability is a little bit better. Well, a lot better, actually. It won't pick up the berries for you. But it will move animals, which I like. When you get animals stuck in places, you can use this to kind of force them out. Moving on to the throwing axe. Now, this basically looks like a miniature battle axe. And you can melee with this if you want to, but the fun part about this is holding in the alternate fire, and you can actually throw it. But wait, there's more. It comes back like a boomerang. It's absolutely awesome. This is by far my favorite out of here. Being able to do that, that's awesome. You'll be able to hit creatures with them, and they will come back to you. Now, I think... Actually, no, I think every time I tried this when I was out there fighting stuff, it came back to me every time. I wonder if I throw it in the water, maybe? Nope, still comes back. Magical throwing axes. I love them. This is super cool. I don't even care that it's raining. Oh, love it. Great times. Yeah, the throwing axe, which is essentially the battle axe, it's just a little bit smaller. So that's the melee weapons that we're going to talk about, with the exception of this super cool shield that we can't use while I have the throwing axe out. There we go. So you also have this shield as well. That looks quite spiffy, and it works just like it usually does. You can actually just block with it like normal. You can hold out the block with it. I mean, I'm assuming it gives you the same area damage. I'm not sure if it works as good as maybe the tower shield as far as like actually covering you to the damage. But anyway, that's enough of that. Let's get into the ranged weapons. Alright, well, it's raining its butt off out here, but we're going to talk about them anyway. This is the recurve bow. There's a recurve bow, and what we have mounted on this is the broadhead arrows. So we have the broadhead arrows, which, I mean, from this perspective kind of look like the same type, but out of the recurve bow. This is the first one of those bows that we're going to be able to use, and it pretty much fires like you would expect a normal... Stuck in the stone, huh? That's kind of amazing. Very impressive. So let's go out here and test a few things out, right? What can we find to pick on? I hate these birds. Can we hit one of these birds? I can never hit these birds. Yep, see, I always miss. Oh, gotcha. You missed. You missed. Anywho, but that's the regular broadhead arrow, obviously dealing more damage. The next bow we have is the longbow, and what we have on this guy is the bodkin arrows. Now the bodkin arrows, I believe, are meant to cause bleeding effects to their targets if I actually hit something. Damage over time is kind of the name of the game with these things, but again, still does decent damage, and a lot of times you can actually pick these arrows back up, so that's definitely a plus. So the longbow is clearly going to get better range. You're clearly going to get more range out of this guy before it starts dropping off. And that is the arbalist, which is essentially a crossbow. But this one's got fire arrows on it. Oh god, and I'm going to need it. Stay back. Stay back. Oh good. Oh man, we made all sorts of friends over here. I'd be curious to see if we can actually use the arbalist underwater. Oh, looks like we can. Okay, so just like the crossbow, we can use this guy underwater. Which is cool, gives us another option for underwater taming and shooting methods other than the normal crossbow. So that's nifty, I like that. It's pretty much plays like the normal crossbow, but it's definitely going to give you more range and it's going to hit harder. So this guy's definitely going to do more damage for you than the normal bow. The normal crossbow, its counterpart would be. So think of this as the advanced crossbow. We have the recurve bow, which is like a normal bow. Then we have your long bow. And then we have the arbalist as well. So all of the weapons, again, are really done quite well. Sculpts look great. The hand placement looks good. Yeah, everything looks pretty awesome. I love it. Love it, love it. And that's our ranged weapons. So out of the arrows, again, we have the regular stone tip arrows that you can make. We have the barbed arrows, which are more of just a straight damage. You have the bodkin arrows, which are basically meant to kind of bleed the target down over time. We have the high power tranquilizing arrows, which are kind of more like, they just deal a high, they're like regular trank arrows that just do a lot more torpor damage than the normal trank arrow would. And we also have the fire arrows, which work very much the same way the fire arrows currently work now. I like the mod. I think it's great. I think it works great. This is definitely more for like an RP, medieval feudal sort of thing. And I think it'd be great combined with some other mods, especially a lot of the Ecos mods that are very much themed towards that. Maybe this and maybe like Ecos RP decor, maybe the castle keeps and fortresses. And man, you got yourself a pretty good medieval setup as far as that goes. But that is it. That is pretty much this medieval weapons mod. I just really wanted to show this one off. I came across it and I've actually used it once before and I really liked it. Like I just like the advanced variety and I like the more primitive theme servers, and this definitely fit the bill quite accurately. It's smooth, it stacks, it's clean. All the weapons are clean. Everything works correctly. Nothing feels weird. It doesn't work right. All in all, it works great. But that's about all we got, guys, for today's mod review. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. If you liked the video, please feel free to subscribe, like, leave a comment down there. Let us know what you think. Also follow me here. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitch. We Twitch live stream 9 p.m. Eastern time, Friday and Saturdays. But that's about all I got, guys. Also, as another reminder, I'd love to hear some suggestions about if we were to do a Ark playthrough. What kind of map do we want to play on? Do we want to play on a modded map? Do we want to play on a regular map? What mods we might want to use? That stuff. I want to know what you guys want to see if we decide to start something like that. So please, please, please shoot something in the comments and let me know what you think. But that's all I got, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Until next time.